Okay, so I know when I initially burned up, you Googled it real quick. You found out basically the parties involved, right? It was called the Anglo Zanzibar War, right? Yeah.
Yes, I know, like, very vaguely
hmm
what we're talking about this time around.
Okay, and so when I say Zanzibar, what comes to mind? Is there anything?
I I was thinking of candy for half a second, but I think that's marzipan, not Zanzibar. African country. That's about what I.
Okay, so when I say that, you don't think booming trade hub.
No.
Okay, cool, great. So here's a picture. So Zanzibar was part of the Omani Empire, and so
Okay,
here's a picture of. I just took this off Wikipedia. I'll be real. This like picture. So
gotcha.
this is basically an area which they had control of. And so if you see on East Africa down there, there's these two tiny little islands. That bottom one, that's Zanzibar. It's so close to shore that on a nice day you can see the mainland. It's not that big. It's just this little tiny island there.
Okay.
Originally, I believe, the Sultan of this empire was up there in like that peninsula, the Arabian Peninsula, like Oman, right? And
Yeah.
he ends up moving. He actually moves the throne down to Zanzibar because it becomes a boomtown. It performs very well. Things that it was involved in was ivory trade. I mean, it's
It's an
Africa,
African country.
right? Big export ivory, slave trade, and cloves because cloves were pretty much exported out of South Asia. But then the Sultan found a variant of the clove. The word I want escapes me, but he finds a kind of clove that grows here in Africa or whatever.
Okay.
And so now there's an alternative to the Asian trade market. There's Zanzibar has cloves. So those are the big three right there.
And it's like several weeks closer as well.
Yes, that is Zanzibar's big trade. Ivory slaves, cloves.
Okay.
Um, it performs very well. It's a big economic hub. Sultan says, okay, let's move the throne there. And several other wealthy individuals in the empire they move along with him. And so now it's kind of like the head of the empire.
Yeah.
Whether or not that's factually true, I didn't really look into it because if that's where all the money is, regardless, it's kind of that
Yeah.
important.
Exactly.
And so something to take note of. So here's Zanzibar on the left side. And what ocean is it in? It's in the Indian Ocean. What is it? Does that tell you, if anything?
No, honestly, no.
All right. So it's the 1800s. I guess I should specify that. Also, Zanzibar is such a big deal in the 1800s that in the 1820s, the United States is sending like diplomats to Zanzibar.
Okay.
Hardly a nation for what, 50 years? And they're already dipping their toes in Zanzibar.
Right.
So, Indian Ocean, right?
Yeah.
Britain has quite a hold in the Indian Ocean. India's there. They consider that. What is it? Was it a protectorate?
Yeah. Britain too.
And
Electric
so,
Boogaloo.
right. And so the Indian people are, what's the word I'm looking for? Subjects of the empire, but also the East India Company. Oh, yeah.
Ah, yes.
Ah, yes, sir.
I am familiar with the East India Company.
And they're like, "You're doing trade in my ocean, boy?
Yeah.
I gotta get a cut."
Yeah. Excuse me?
You're doing some trade down here. You gotta pay the toll, the troll toll.
Yeah,
You're gonna be using my ocean. Um,
exactly.
and so as the 1800s are going on, the 1800s, especially the late 1800s, I believe it's big European colonization of Africa. 90%, or where did I say? Big European colonization of Africa. Yeah, so 90%
Yeah.
of Africa is going to be colonized by the end of the 1800s, minus
Wild.
Ethiopia, which gets colonized by Italy, and Liberia, I believe. There might be a few others,
Does
but
Liberia not get colonized by anyone?
I believe Liberia is a U.S. colony
Okay.
because I'm pretty sure the name comes from liberty because I think it was like a colony where freedmen were sent. Let me double check. Uh, Black people would face better chances for freedom and prosperity in Africa rather than the United States. So it sounds a little bit racist. Maybe it was just a way to get rid of black people.
You know what? That sounds about right for that time period.
Outbreak of American Civil War. This is just off Wikipedia. Outbreak of American
Yeah.
Civil War. More than 15,000 freed and freeborn people of color who faced social and legal oppression were relocated to Liberia. We won't dive too deep into that.
Right.
And so that's basically all of Africa there. So there ends up being a treaty signed between, well, I say treaty. There wasn't really I don't think there was a war, an agreement between Germany and the United Kingdom that says, okay, we're going to split up East Africa between you and me. These are our spheres of influence here. There's Germany and there's Britain. And so Zanzibar, this was in the late 1800s, so 1890s.
That is a lot closer to the mainland than I thought it was.
It's very close. You can just see the shore. If
All
you
right.
just you're standing on Zanzibar, you just chilling on the beach, you can just see Africa. It's right there, right in
Wild.
front of you.
So, based on how this territory got marked up, it looks like the Germans have Zanzibar.
Yeah, so Zanzibar is surrounded by Germany. Well, the Sultan who was in power then, I believe the OG Sultan passes away, and a new one comes into power who is pro United Kingdom. He's pro Britain.
Okay.
So he's like, man, Germany is right there, and I kind of don't want to be German. So
Here. No, sometimes you just stand on the shore and you can see Germany. It's right there.
it's like the UK in World War II after Germany took France.
Yeah.
Germany's right there.
Germany is right there.
So he's like, hey, I want to be a protectorate, a British protectorate. I want to be part of Britain.
I
And
want in
they're
on the
like,
East India Company action.
they're like, oh, hell yeah, brother. Come on in.
Why didn't you say so sooner?
Who doesn't like money?
Exactly.
And so some things are going into play here, such as abolishing the slave trade. The Britain and Zanzibar have been pretty close for a while now before they were a protectorate.
Yeah.
And so there's infrastructure developed. They start getting rid of the slave trade and all that stuff, kind of coming up to code with what Britain had in mind already
Good.
before they had decided, okay, I want to be a protectorate of Zanzibar, or I mean of a British protectorate.
England reaches out to Zanzibar. Hey,
Hey, man.
what
So
if you colonized us?
I know, crazy idea. Sleep on it. Let me know tomorrow, maybe within a week's time. Just think about it, you know?
You could rule a much more vast empire.
Think about it this way. Sun never sets. What's that? What's night? Couldn't tell you.
Couldn't tell you. Not here. Not in England.
Not here. We don't do that. We don't
Absolutely
do that
not.
So now they're British protectorate. The Sultan is, pro Britain and everything's great. He passes away. He passes away with foul play suspected. Assassination? Okay.
So we are now grandson of original Sultan.
I believe, yes. And now this is the guy who is the suspect of the assassination. He's that one's nephew. So nephew poisons the Funkle, and and says, "I want to be the Sultan now."
Okay, wait. So the exact lineup is so like grandfather, nephew of grandfather kills brother, or
So yeah, so we have what is their blood relation? Okay, so this is the son, and then he passes away, and the next guy is his brother,
okay,
and then he passes away, and then it's nephew, I think is how I'm looking at it.
okay.
So
So
it's
the OG
it's
Sultan dies.
OG, OG's son, son's brother, brother's nephew.
Okay, wait. So does that make it the first son's son, or is it the second son's son?
Oh, I
That's
see
what I'm
what you're
asking.
asking.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's see. Okay, who is your father? He is the son of the original son.
Okay, so it goes like OG Sultan, firstborn, and then firstborn
Yeah, so it's it's
after
it's
the
our original sultan,
fir-
firstborn, firstborn's
secondborn,
brother. Yeah, firstborn, secondborn,
and then
firstborn's child.
firstborn's
Yes,
firstborn. Okay,
yes.
gotcha.
Okay, and so he's like, "Well, I wanna. It's mine now. I take. I
Yeah,
take Zanzibar." Um, Now, here's the problem. That agreement said that, that like, okay, you can be a protectorate, but we have to okay who's in charge because we're Britain and we do that.
yeah,
And so the guy takes over without approval from like British Parliament, no recognition, right? There was a point where he even like reached out to like the United States. There was like the United States. I think maybe it was an embassy or something, or just a diplomat who was there, and they were reaching out for recognition. And the United States was like, "No, you have not been approved by Britain. No, no, no,
yeah.
you're not
Uh,
real."
sort yourself out first, and then we'll talk about it.
Yeah, okay. So our Sultan dies, right? And he's like, okay, guys, I'm in charge. He just kind of goes into the palace and he takes over. And there's the United States like diplomat there, and he's like, you recognize me as a country as the leader, right? And he's like,
You're a
no.
British protectorate. Thank you very much.
He says, let's see, his words were, because your ascension had not been verified by Her Majesty's government, it is impossible to reply. So he basically gave him I cannot confirm nor deny
Yeah.
that you are in charge. And
You have
so,
taken power, but
good job, you took power.
yeah.
That's all I got for you, man.
Yeah,
You
that's,
did it.
I'm like, yeah. I'm like, call me back.
Let me know how that goes for you. Take two of these, call me in the morning.
Exactly.
So, the British diplomat to Zanzibar is like, "Hey, man, I'm just gonna warn you," because he had apparently warned them a few years ago, like warned this guy not to try to do this a few years ago, and he did it anyways. He was like, "Hey, man, just step out of the palace, pretend this didn't happen. Don't advance further with this foolishness."
Yeah.
And he's like, no, instead, I'm gonna actually start building up troops. And so he builds up like 3,000 troops.
Oh.
So our new Sultan has 3,000 troops behind him. The majority aren't like hardened regular infantry. It's kind
Yeah.
of fledgling nation kind of stuff, like uprising stuff, like militia.
Yeah.
And so they have like 3,000 people. He seizes the Navy. Would you like to see the Navy?
Please.
All right, are you ready? I'm gonna blow
Yes.
you away.
All right.
There it is. Zanzibar Navy.
Is that
One
Is that?
boat.
Oh! I see a few boats on screen that had me
That
considering.
big one right there is the one.
Ah.
I believe that's it. It's just the one.
So he's ready to take on Her Majesty.
Oh yeah.
No, it's like it's Lord of the Rings, right? It's just one boat to rule them all.
Yeah. This one's
So
enough. That one's plenty. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
exactly.
And so he seizes the massive navy of Zanzibar. The navy could be bigger. I didn't look into it. There was only a picture of one boat. So, but I'm gonna roll with them having one boat.
I also would roll with them with having one boat.
And so this boat is the royal boat. This is it. Like this is what's the term? Flagship of the navy. They don't really have. They have a little bit of firepower, right? They have a handful of light cannons, and these I'm pretty sure these are like old surplus, like extra stuff. Because I'm pretty sure the cannons that they had are like a couple hundred years old, like smoothbore, not
Oh,
rifled cannons, not rifled cannons like England will have. I'm pretty sure this is smoothbore cannons, which were actually gifted to them by the Emperor of Germany.
smoothbore cannons to
Ah,
match the Sultan's smooth brain.
yes. So yeah, there's a few thousand. They have a few cannons. They have a ship. Everything's covered. Nobody. I mean, they didn't really have to cover the air. There planes weren't. They didn't really have to worry about planes. They basically have the land covered. They have the water covered. They're set for war.
They had the water covered.
So
I guess we'll call it that.
this is the evening of that same day where he really started like amassed everything and had it all up front, threatening Britain, I guess, intimidating an empire, I guess.
Sure.
And the British consul, he's like, "Don't do this. This is rebellion against the British government.
Yeah.
Don't do it." And he's like, "No." And he proclaims himself Sultan. The diplomat from Britain there was like, "Okay, well, guess I'm gonna write to London and see what." Well, telegraph, not write.
Yeah.
Telegraph. He telegraphs London. He's like, well, I've tried to, be peaceful and persuade him. Can I just shoot him with our boat? Am I authorized? His words were, "Are we authorized in the event of all attempts at a peaceful solution proving useless to fire on the palace from the men of war?" Because they had British boats in harbor.
Yeah.
And so everything just kind of goes dark for a minute, for the rest of the day. We're mourning the old Sultan. We're waiting for a response from the government. And I think more British ships show up and they set down. They drop anchor there, or whatever ships do. They park.
Yeah. Right.
And
Get all saddled up.
yeah. So more British ships shows up, I believe, and they get the telegraph back, and it says that you are authorized to adopt whatever measures you may consider necessary. You will be supported in your action by Her Majesty's government. Do not, however, attempt to take any action which you are not certain of being able to accomplish successfully.
Okay.
So basically, do what you gotta, but don't embarrass me.
Yeah, basically.
We're gonna give him an ultimatum then.
Right.
He needs to take down the flag and he needs to leave by tomorrow. 9 a.m. tomorrow. He needs to be gone. Here's your ultimatum. And they start evacuating people. They start getting merchant ships out. They start getting British citizens out. They start evacuating everything.
Mm-hmm.
The next day comes around. They send a message to the Sultan at 8. Okay, your one chance is if you agree to the ultimatum. 30 minutes pass. And he responds, "We're not going to do it because we don't think you're going to shoot us."
Really?
We have no intention of hauling down our flag, and we do not believe you would open fire on us.
I'm going to call your bluff, Britain.
What bluff? They have a whole empire. What do they need to lie about? What are they gonna bluff about? What do you mean?
Like, remember when you were part of us? Yeah, that's happening.
Yeah. You remember like 2 days ago when you were a part of Britain and you just thought you could just not be a part anymore? Okay, you're a
That
part of
ends.
us. Do you understand?
Yeah.
And so he's like, "No, you guys won't shoot us." And and
No
and
balls.
Britain, yeah, no balls. And Britain's like, "No, we'll shoot you. We don't want to, but we will." 8:55. Nothing.
Oh, nothing.
All right, load up the cannons. We got to get ready. So they get ready. They get everything loaded up. 9 o'clock. Nothing. Okay, and they start
901.
bombarding. They start bombarding a couple minutes later. Open fire on the palace.
Yep.
Immediately knocks out a good deal of the defenses. What barricades? What cannon? They're getting shot at by like a handful of British men of war.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And the palace is like right there on the shore.
Oh,
Yeah.
harem. Excuse me? Well, first off, the harem building and the House of Wonders should be the same building. That's my first complaint. Second, how did the Zanzibar ship get further away from shore than the British ships?
I don't know.
Okay, I'm looking at.
Yeah.
So there's the lighthouse, Palace Square, whole thing,
Uh-huh.
custom sheds,
Yeah.
diplomatic quarter. Then there's the German consulate over there in the corner.
Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. That comes
Okay,
into play. Keep that in
okay.
mind.
All right, I was gonna make a joke, but go ahead.
Okay, so boom, open fire, raining lead all over the palace.
No, not my harem.
The report at the time is that they were taking fire, and then after taking fire, the glass cow shot back, so they sank it.
Oh, I thought you said the glass cow, and I was
Oh.
like, no, not my glass cow sculpture. How, you bastards?
Their one boat is called the glass cow. This giant glass cow chilling in the palace square,
Yeah.
obliterated.
No! You monsters!
And so they're like, yeah. Once they started shooting, Sultan ran with the tail tucked between his legs. He left. He was out. He was gone.
Yeah.
So, where do you go if Britain is currently bombarding your palace? Well, you go to another country.
Oh, okay.
What country is closer than Germany? And he doesn't even have to. He doesn't have to cross the water to get there. He goes to the German consulate.
Okay.
So British soldiers are like, "Hey, German man, we need that guy that you're hiding in there. He's kind of traitor. We kind of need him. Can you give him to us?" And they're like, "Nope."
Okay.
And Britain's like, okay, but extradition laws or something like that. And they're like,
Right.
"No, you can't have him."
Interesting. This is not where I thought this was going to go.
And so basically, basically Britain's like, okay, well, he's gonna have to stay there because if he comes out, he's in Britain again. And the consul there's like, "Oh, don't worry, we're gonna get him out of here without him stepping foot on soil of Zanzibar." So the Imperial German Navy, they pull a warboat right up to the shore, and he just jumps into the boat, and they take him over. They take him out
Okay.
because they can't do anything about it.
Yeah, this is. I wasn't ready for the Dungeons and Dragons style escape. So he got out.
So yeah, he got out. He gets out. And they take him from Zanzibar to a place in Germany, East Africa.
Germany is right there.
Yep, they take him to Germany. But now this is in the 1890s. 20 years later. So a little thing happened in the 1910s. We call it World War One.
Right.
And there was, an East African campaign. Right? Guess who gets captured during the East African campaign?
I think I know who.
Yeah, it's our boy. He gets captured by British forces and exiled, never allowed to return to East Africa, and he dies like 10 years later.
Where?
They put him. Okay, so here is a closer shot of Zanzibar. Dar es Salaam. That's where Germany took him, literally right across the ocean.
Okay.
And that's where he got caught. And then he got exiled during the war. So he gets captured and he's exiled from East Africa. And then they end up letting him go back later. And then he dies in Mombasa, which is near where he got caught.
Where's Mombasa?
So he gets exiled here. It's in the red highlight. He gets exiled there. And then he gets to return later. And he dies in Mombasa on East Africa.
Okay.
Which isn't very far from where he got caught.
Oh, so who took the Sultan position after he got
scooped
by Germany?
After he got scooped by Germany. Okay, no relation. Totally new bloodline.
Oh, okay.
Let's
so
see.
They kind of just like picked a guy and went, "You want to be the Sultan?"
They picked someone who was backing British ideals. They picked him, let him be Sultan. He abolishes slavery, gets knighted.
Sweet, not a bad gig.
So he is absolutely killing it right now.
Yeah.
And that's who takes over. Here's a picture. Basically, that's the conclusion. Overall, there was. Oh, I never said the British only had about 1,000 soldiers, well armed. They had 1,000 soldiers and a handful of boats.
Very well armed.
Versus 3,000 and a boat.
Yeah.
One British soldier managed to get wounded. Idiots. They were that close to having a flawless victory.
Dang it.
And this guy, I don't know what happened to him, but he got wounded. I really wanted to find it and see that it was something stupid, but I also didn't want to go and try to find this book that it's cited from and blah, 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 blah. I kind of wish it's just something silly like, he burnt himself with the thing he lights the candle with.
Or no, it was the chef burning his hand on a hot stove.
And yeah, in total, the war lasted between 30, 45 minutes, and it's kind of regarded as the shortest war in history. Well, then again, you would have people who are like, that's not a war.
Yeah.
Well, what else do you call a conflict between two places? It's kind of a war.
Right.
But that being said, that wraps up the Anglo-Zanzibar War. This episode, raw audio, is longer than the war was. Even at its longest possible conclusion of 45 minutes, we're still beating it by 3.
Nice.